Peace, peace, peace. Welcome to the Scrap and Roll MMA podcast. I'm your host, Sky. We got your host, Damien, CJ, Jace, and a special guest, Jay, in the building. It's a lot of Jays happening, right? Pause. Yeah, we are back another week. Oh, and if you guys didn't know, we are now officially on all platforms for wherever you get your podcast from. So you can get us on Spotify now, Apple, all of that. So we'll start popping up over there now, because I know a couple of y'all was like, it's just a lot easier for y'all to watch us on that than it is to come to YouTube. But yeah, we are back. How y'all feeling?
Yeah, we in here.
Magnificent.
As Biggie Smalls says, I'm feeling stupendous.
Jay, tell us a little bit about yourself real quick. Introduce yourself to the audience.
All right, so I do college broadcasting, so I commentate college football, college basketball, college wrestling. I also run college track and field as a sprinter as well. Also just got back into training MMA as well. Just got smashed at BJJ like just 2 hours ago, so pretty good with
Pause.
Pause that, my good sir. Hey, yo, Shorty.
Hey, welcome to the show.
Face down, ass up, huh? Face down, ass up.
But
Toot it and boot it. Hey, Sky, clip that shit. My man barely got on the show and he's already clipped.
Blooper reel. Can't wait for the end of the year blooper reel.
Let's go.
I'm gonna just end the intro there. There we go. That's the end of the intro.
Oh man, no, that's really cool. Do you do no gi or gi?
Both.
Okay.
Which one do you like better?
I prefer no-gi because I think people pulling on the lapels and the gi is like super annoying. My belt's always coming off, so
Yeah,
gotta find for no-gi.
I feel you on that.
I agree. When I have the gi on, I just feel like super stiff. Like I don't feel like as fluid as no gi. I'm just like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
You bound by the clothing, and then you end up getting choked by your own lapel and shit. Nah.
And people are dirty. Let's be real. People are dirty. Like, keep your gi clean, bro. Like, ain't nobody trying to smell you, bro.
I don't know if any of y'all train like at an MMA gym, but yeah, motherfuckers is dirty. Please take a shower. Like, please take a shower and wash your clothes before you come to the gym and try to spar with other people.
Fuck
in
that.
Close quarters and
Hey, fuck washing your clothes. Can you wash your ass, please?
Oh,
No, I mean, I'm saying everything.
Facts.
Wash everything. Just be clean. Just be clean. We don't gotta worry about people getting diseases out here looking like Gastelum in the podcast. You feel me?
Facts. Yeah. If you guys haven't already, make sure you go check out a BJJ gym, kickboxing, whatever it is. Get into it, but real quick, let's get into it. So some of the news that dropped, it's Tuesday. Like we did know, Francis Ngannou is signed with the PFL. How y'all feel about it? Because y'all know I can go on and on.
I think it's hilarious that he made it a whole thing to like I got an announcement to make. Like I was like, oh shit, what is he about to say? Not knowing that it was the shit that everybody already knew about. Come on now, like we already knew that. That's not news. But it was good to see some of the contract details that he explained. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think it's cool, man. Good for him. He held out and he was saying no. Or actually, he was being told no.
Let me say yeah.
He was being told no everywhere, and people were talking shit on him and shit, right?
Sounds
the whole
like,
time, like hurry up. But he actually found a good deal and he got it done. So I'm actually proud of him for that. To like hold out and just really get what you want. I'm sure he probably wanted more than that, but he accepted what he accepted, which seems like a good deal in my opinion. So yeah, good for him.
I guess for me, I think it's great. I'm glad Francis got the deal he wanted, got the contract he wanted. I love the fact that he is the African ambassador. Kudos for him to go get his bread. You know what I mean? UFC, needs to step up their game. So I can't wait to fucking see him fight. The nuclear bomb that he got in his left and his right, I'm with it.
This dude is lying. This dude is lying.
Who?
You.
Wait, about what? What you talking about?
I can't wait. I can't wait to watch him. And you ain't gonna pay for no pay-per-view to see PFL.
I didn't say I was paying for shit. I just said I can't wait to watch this nigga. Hey. You know, well, I got a hot take about that. I won't get into it, but nah. I can't wait to watch Ngannou fight.
What about you, Jay? How you feel about the Francis news?
So I got a whole lot to say on this, so I'll try to keep it concise. But
no, do you think?
So here's my thing. Throughout this entire process, everybody was like, "Oh, Francis, he's fumbling the bag. He's fumbling the bag," and it's got a bunch of people who think they know the business talking about stuff. Ignore that. Anyways, anybody talking about something like, "Oh, Dana, he should have took Dana's offer. He's scared of John Jones." Listen, this guy walked on foot from Cameroon all the way up north. You think this man is scared to fight John Jones? Like, realistically, right? I'm never one to ever say an MMA fighter is scared of anybody, but here's my thing. Francis, the entire time, has always said it was more than money. He's always advocated for the other fighters. And the truth of the matter is, in MMA, it's a very selfish sport. Because most of the time, nobody's really thinking, I got to go help this other person. Just like the Derek Lewis situation with Ngannou. When Francis said that he wanted a little more time, Derek Lewis was like, I'll go fight Ngannou for this amount of money. I'll go do that. So a lot of the time, the fighters will say, oh, I want more pay. I want this. But rarely, I mean, we've had guys like Randy Couture, Frank Shamrock, and other guys who have actually, stood their ground with the UFC. But I'm never, again, this is probably going to give me some trouble, but you had guys like Masvidal who would say, oh, we need to get better treatment. But as soon as these guys get paid, it's radio silence. Francis, I got to give him credit because not only did he walk out with the belt on his own terms, he got the deal on his own terms, and you saw one championship and bare knuckle. And I don't even know why bare knuckle was talking about, oh, he's asking for too much. He was never going to bare knuckle. Let's be realistic for him. He was never going.
On a real quick note, can we imagine Francis Ngannou bare knuckle?
Bruh, his fist is probably the size of someone's entire head, bruh.
I don't even think you can legally allow Francis to fight.
Who signs up for that?
Nah.
Besides Mike Perry, because he's just a savage. Who signs up for that?
But yeah, so I feel like I think the biggest details that I really liked about the contract was the African ambassador thing, especially because a lot of people, and again, I know this is gonna start a little thing because this has already been a controversy, but if you think the dudes in Dagestan are crazy, imagine the untapped talent there is in Africa. Because you think there's only one Francis
and DDP.
Listen, we're not talking about this. Listen, I can't talk about this guy. Every time I talk about
Sky, don't do it to him.
I get banned on TikTok. So
Me too.
That's what I'm saying.
Every time.
I think because I can talk about anybody else, but as soon as I say Drake is his name, all of a sudden I'm getting hate speech. I'm getting all this. So maybe he's. I don't even want to say that, but I mean, if Africa, if the best talent is Drake is, then they can keep it. If that's the best, I'm gonna just say that. But yeah, I feel like though the details with Francis's contract are I think they're pretty good, but it is a little risky on PFL's part if they're not merging. If they're merging with Bellator, then there's something there because now all of a sudden you've got guys like Pitbull, got guys like AJ McKee, and honestly. Now, I know nobody would really want to see this fight, to be honest, but the one I thought of was probably Francis versus Ryan Bader. I know he can't. But at least, though, it's a name that some UFC people be like, oh, Ryan Bader, is that the guy that DC made fun of? Oh, I'll watch Francis fight him versus, like, if Francis fights, like, I mean, Fabricio Doom is a name, but Fabricio's, like, 50. I know he's not 50 for real.
The Fedor killer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. How you feel about it, CJ?
I'm just glad it's over with. Honestly, I'm happy he got his deal done. But like I was talking on live today, who is he gonna fight? Who's gonna tune into him? Who's gonna tune in? I'm gonna watch him fight.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna.
I think you'd be surprised.
I'm not gonna pay for that. Nah, the motherfuckers don't watch PFL right now. Motherfuckers
know,
don't watch
I know,
Bellator
but-
right now. They
It is
don't
free.
do that
But if
shit, and it's
Francis,
free.
but if Francis Ngannou
Y'all
was
don't watch
fighting
his
over
fights
there,
in the UFC. Motherfuckers
No.
don't pay for his pay-per-views in the UFC.
I don't get why
So
not.
because
I
it's
don't
a
get why
business,
not.
niggas is not tuning into him because he don't have the personality that goes with his fighting style. You know what
Don't
I'm
even
saying?
go there,
Okay,
Jace.
There's
So we
there's
talking
14 people that are heavyweights in the PFL.
Yeah.
When's the last time y'all watched PFL?
Including Maurice Green.
Maurice Green.
I watched
I'm
PFL,
going to watch it because I watch
No,
everything.
you watch everything. Yeah.
but I watch PFL. You know why though? I wouldn't be watching it if it wasn't for these people kind of segueing off of the UFC. The
Boom.
UFC fighters got me to tune in, and that's how I feel that Francis Ngannou is gonna have it. I think you guys are kind of underestimating the pool that he has.
But it's
Being
also all
an
the
African
dancing partners you
ambassador.
have to have. The dancing partners.
That
I
matters.
mean,
Who's
shit.
he gonna fight?
I'm gonna tune in to see one pass away from a fucking Francis Ngannou uppercut. I'm gonna tune in.
Wait, hold on. I think Alistair Overeem just entered the chat. On a side note, no, you don't necessarily have to listen. You don't have to have the dancing partner, right? Because, for example, so many of these boxers, like you see, like Canelo fighting people who, like, you never heard of the other fucking
He's
person.
Canelo. Don't compare Canelo and Ngannou.
That's a different
I'm
sport,
giving-
though.
no, I'm
Boxing
giving you
and
an
MMA.
example.
Boxing already has the draw to go over there.
Yeah, but
Canelo's
Canelo is
name
that guy.
holds weight.
Yeah,
It
but
holds
as well,
weight.
but as well, it doesn't matter. For example, right, and y'all will feel me on this. It's like Nate, right? It doesn't matter who Nate fights. I'm tuning in. Take my fucking
Nate
money.
and Ngannou
Nate
aren't
is
the
not
same,
in
though.
exactly.
Yeah.
They
I'm
not
giving
the same.
Exactly.
examples. Y'all are talking about it doesn't work. It does work. It does work to have just a one-sided draw.
You're talking-
And guess what?
compare-
MMA fans like seeing people fucking die in the ring, get just annihilated. And you know when Francis Ngannou's fight, this motherfucker is coming to put someone's lights
I
legitimately
low-key
out.
see where he's coming from though, because I will say this: the UFC, to a degree, I feel like has fumbled the bag on Francis because you have the perfect angle. I'm not comparing him to Mike Tyson. I'm not saying he's Mike Tyson, but the angle you could, because for example, outside of Evander Holyfield and Lennox Lewis, do most people know the names of who Mike Tyson fought outside of those two guys?
Right.
Facts.
I mean, people didn't know Buster Douglas because he lost. But point is, I know they just did the merge with WWE, and I don't want the UFC to get in any type of WWE business. But you have the guys like Goldberg, where their whole shtick was squash matches, right? If you can market to certain people saying, "Look at this big old dude who's jacked, 6-pack, 9-pack, scary," how long do you think this person's going to last? Like, there's a way you can market when there's a dominant figure versus competition that may not be recognizable to the casual audience. But the issue I think with the UFC, and I think on Francis's part, is I think it didn't help when he lost to Stipe the first time. So some of that mystique probably went away a bit. So people were just like, okay, he's not invincible. Whereas if he had never lost up until that point, I think he would have so much pull that people would think no one, not even John Jones, could touch this dude. But when they saw Stipe beat him, they were like, yeah, John Jones would just take him down. And then even though he
the
won
most
fight
boring
against
fight
him,
with Derek Lewis.
that fight too obviously did not.
And a boring fight with Gone.
The Gone fight too. Even though he won,
So we're saying a lot of and twos and a lot of and twos. And I fuck with Francis. Don't get it fucked up. I fuck with Francis, but I feel like it's a lot going around his name, and I hope he does well. But it's like, yeah.
But at that point, any publicity is good publicity. People have been talking about this man.
You're right.
They haven't seen him for a while. I feel like you guys would be surprised the amount of people that would tune into PFL to watch just this man fight, because he's gonna be the main guy. He's gonna be the headliner. You know what I mean?
Okay.
He's not though. He's going to be first. Part of his contract is he's not going to fight till 2024. So next year.
Next year.
So he's going to be boxing somewhere. God forbid he gets killed by somebody there in boxing, right? So he's going to be boxing, right? They're going to have him on pay-per-view, so he's not going to be a part of the season. A part of those pay-per-views is going to be who? Jake Paul and Kayla Harrison. That's who's going to be on this. So the majority of the people, if
Nobody
they
watches
run
him.
a pay-per-view with Francis and whoever he's fighting, and we look at those pay-per-view numbers, and compared to Francis on a card with Jake Paul, those numbers are going to be much larger because Jake Paul is going to pull in casual people who want to see Jake Paul in an MMA match get his ass beat. It's going to be completely different.
Pause. All this talk about casual, Sky. Can you flex your shirt, please?
I mean, the merch is out. The merch is out. It's gonna be below this video.
Yeah. Copy some. You see us?
Copy some.
We out here
in the background, CJ. Definitely make sure you guys check out the merch. ScrapandRollMMA.com. Check it out. But for me personally, I look at it like this: that Francis Ngannou has never been a draw until he walked away from the UFC. That's where these people have this is my opinion. This is where people are like so enamored by it because he's the first guy to be like, yeah, you're not gonna give me what I want, I'm out of here. You know what I mean? I don't see the difference between. I would compare Francis Ngannou's stardom moving to PFL the same as Anthony Pettis. He's a former champion. He had a name. They were paying him $750K a fight just to show up. But, like, he's not as big as Nate Diaz. Now, if Nate were to go over there to PFL, abso-fucking-lutely, everybody would be turning in to watch that. But, like, I think majority of this hype is coming off of the dispute. But by the time we get around to next year, if y'all care, I would be shocked. If they do a card where it's just Francis headlining and not Jake Paul headlining, I would be shocked. You need that extra cushion up under that. And God forbid he goes and gets knocked silly by some boxer, by Deontay Wilder.
Yeah, that would be nuts. That would ruin everything.
I think you're totally wrong. I forget. I think it was Damien who was talking about how I do believe the UFC dropped the ball on that because you did have the thing, and they tried to run the angle for a little bit of just being this devastating puncher. How many times you see the reel of him fucking just annihilating Overeem? Like, you can just keep showing those clips, right? And people are going, whoa, I got to see that, because at the end of the day, we're all bloodthirsty. You know, when you drive by that freeway and you see that accident, you know, low key, people are looking like, is there blood? That's what you're thinking in your fucking mind. As well, though, I think as well, another variable in the equation that we are forgetting is that the PFL is a part of ESPN, right? And that machine is going to elevate him even more, just like the UFC as a whole, since they moved over to ESPN. And more eyes, and they'll keep showing those clips. And I think Francis will do just fine. And I'm happy for him.
What PFL's terrible at marketing? They came here to Vegas and couldn't even sell out fucking 4,500 seats.
But
I was sitting in an empty fucking arena.
But it's not about them.
They had tickets for $25. They couldn't sell that.
It's not about them.
Sky, I just want to say real quick. You kind of comparing Anthony Pettis to Francis Ngannou is kind of disrespectful.
Facts.
That's kind of disrespectful.
You think Francis has more fans than Anthony Pettis?
Okay, but let's talk about it this way, all right? Because we talked about this on the last podcast. We're talking about the heavyweight division, the murderers of murderers, right? Anthony Pettis can't hang in the middleweight division. We're talking about Francis Ngannou. He could probably hurt anybody in the world with one punch. Let's be real, right?
Facts.
That's kind of the difference. This man isn't a former champion. In my mind, he's still champion. He hasn't lost while he has the belt, right? So I'm thinking about it like that. And I think that he will definitely pull people from outside of the PFL community to tune into PFL, which I think is actually smart on PFL's part to actually take his deal, or like to cut a deal with him, because I feel like it's a win-win situation for everyone. And I think we are going to be surprised by the numbers that I want to actually do that. I want to actually take a look at the numbers of the last like main event that PFL had versus the one with Francis Ngannou. I can almost bet money.
Of course it's going to be bigger.
But I think it's going to be surprisingly bitter.
It should be, because they tried to sell a pay-per-view.
Grow, not a shower.
Their first and only pay-per-view was with Kayla Harrison last year, the day after Thanksgiving, and it bombed. It did absolutely terrible. Of course, you're going to have Francis. People are going to watch a pay-per-view, and they're going to time it and put it in a different place. My thing is, if they do a pay-per-view where it's only Francis headlining and not Jake Paul on there, because Jake Paul is going to inflate those numbers. And they're going to try to attribute it to being about Francis, but it's not. But hey, if you guys think that Francis is a draw and y'all think that this was a good decision, I hope that it works out for the PFL. You know, more competition, it would be good. The main thing that I have an issue with is nothing changed as far as, so when Francis left, he said he wanted the advisory group. He wanted to be like on a board of advisory. He wanted health insurance, and he wanted sponsorships, right? So the people at PFL, they still not getting health insurance, right? And his whole thing is that like the people who are making 12 and 12, 10 and 10, or whatever it is, that they can't afford to be able to pay for health insurance. Well, neither can the people in PFL. You know what I mean? They can still only have two small, what's it called? Whatchamacallit? It's like,
Sponsors.
What really changed besides them saying, hey, we want to go to Africa sometime and you're going to be the chairman of that? Like, what actual change was made besides he got everything that he wanted, but his whole thing was that he was worried about the fighters? Because PFL already had a group advisory with Randy Couture and a whole bunch of old legendary fighters that are already in that advisory group.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say this. I think we've exhausted the Ngannou portion of the podcast, and I've got a couple of hot takes I really want to get to. So
I just want to know, but also, I do want to know what changed. What as far as what he wanted, what changed?
I saw that anybody that fights him in particular is guaranteed $2 million.
What about the regular people that's not getting?
I know, but that's something that, I mean, this man's at least trying and at least getting somebody help. You know what I mean? Like, you can only do so much. You got to plant the seed before it grows into a tree.
Well, obviously with Sky, if it ain't the world, then it ain't nothing.
No, it's just that you wanted these things, but yet you didn't get them.
He got some of them. That's what a negotiation is. You start here, the other part starts here, you know, and then you end up usually meeting in the middle. But like I said, let's keep it pushing. We got other shit to get to. I got some hot takes to get to. You know, let's keep it pushing.
I feel you though, Sky. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think
we'll come back to it. We'll come back to it. So the first hot take that I got today asks, would Conor McGregor be the Conor McGregor if he wasn't Irish?
Wait, so okay,
Scott. I would say this: he wouldn't be the Conor McGregor if he was black.
For some reason, I didn't even like picture that. I was thinking like a Dagestani type Conor McGregor or something.
Yo, that's wild.
Like, what's the alternative that Conor would be if he's not Irish? What's the alternative?
A daggy Conor is crazy.
I think what the question is kind of asking is because obviously we know like certain fan bases are more rabid than others.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the Brits really get behind their people as well, the Irish, because there's a difference between the Irish and the Brits. And so again, they're just saying like, would that same star power that he has, he's the biggest name in MMA by country mile, would it be the same as, let's say, if he was American, if he was Brazilian, would he still be the Conor McGregor as we now know him? I'm presuming that's what the question was asking.
I think Stockton Conor beats every Conor there is.
Stockton, homie.
Just a gangster ass Conor. That'd be crazy.
Shit, Conor is gangster. What you mean?
But I mean Stockton gangster. I'm talking about West Coast gangster, American West Coast gangster.
the West Coast, homie. The West Coast gangster, homie.
What you think, Jay?
I feel like it's a mix of yes and no, because on one hand, right, in the early stages of Conor's career, him being Irish did help 100%. But I will say, past when he fought Jose Aldo, that was more, I think, the psychological mind games. The fact, because a lot of people who really had to be there to understand, Jose Aldo, before he lost to Conor, he was like top of the food chain. So the fact that Conor went out there, said everything he said, and was just terrorizing this dude for that entire press tour, and then actually knocked him out and did it, I think that alone, regardless if he was Irish or not, like if anybody would have did that to Jose Aldo, I think they would have still been as big. But I think the initial push would have took a lot longer because I feel like, yeah, again, when you have a fighter who's from a country that doesn't necessarily have a person yet, because the only person I could think of, what was the guy who had beat him back when he was like in Cage Wars? What's the guy's name?
D's.
Bro, you're not finna stop. Not Joe Duffy. That's not his name.
I know who you're talking about.
There was a guy who submitted him. He was in the UFC too, but he was Irish too. But
He got him with a knee bar, right? Is that the one you're talking about?
yeah, I can't. I feel bad for getting dude's name. But point is though, usually
We ain't gonna remember that shit, bro.
Usually though, when there's somebody who's the first from somewhere, usually there's a bigger push. Whereas if there had been someone from Ireland, I think before him that was like decently big, maybe it wouldn't be as big of a rally. But I think though the things that Conor did just kind of goes beyond just Ireland, because I don't think there's anybody else realistically in MMA history who can just have the same type of pool regardless of nation. So I feel like initially yes, but long term I think it'd still be the same regardless.
Fair.
Damn, church.
That was a very good point, Jay, when you said he was the first of what he did from where he was from. I didn't even think about it like that.
You're right.
That's a good point. I like that point.
That's a good point.
Man, you smart, my guy.
Yeah, you a wise man. I wanted to say that. Yeah, you wise. I like that.
I say yeah. I say yeah, just because Conor's personality, his charisma, his just way of being is electrifying, and you want to tune in, you want to watch him. Like that little bitty clip from Tough of him telling Michael Chandler, like Michael Chandler's like, oh, if you want to go to 185, we'll do 185, and McGregor saying you'll do what you're told.
Yeah,
like,
just a little shit. Yeah.
And the way that Chandler looked at him, he got owned in that
he had
moment.
nothing to say. He had nothing to say.
What can you say? You just here for Red Panty Night. You just happy to be here. Like
Yeah.
As well, there's a follow-up question. Oh, and by the way, thank you to @Nakoda on Twitter for the question. The follow-up question is Sugar Sean O'Malley a belt away from becoming the next Conor McGregor?
No.
Nah.
I am biased. I actually like him a lot. Like don't.
I like him,
but his charisma and shit, it's not even close to Conor. Like I wouldn't be tuning into this nigga's press conferences or nothing. I'll be watching his little fight highlights and stuff, but his press conferences. Because immediately what I think about is when Henry Cejudo called him out on the sidelines, where he was like, "Hey, Precious," and he was just sitting. He was like, "I can't tell if he's serious or not." Like, you know what I mean? Like that was his time to like actually shine, and I feel like where he could like talk shit and present himself as like a charismatic like. Bro, I'll fuck you up right now. You haven't even been training, little guy. Like, get up out of here. Like, little like that. You know what I mean? But he kind of almost seemed like he was caught off guard and like didn't know what to say. And then as he's walking away, he makes some little comment about him. I'm like, come on, dog. You could have done so much better than that. But his fight style, and he does have pull. I would say that a lot of people would tune into him to watch him fight. But he's missing the charismatic, like outgoing, shit talking part of him. That's what it is.
What about CJ?
The Conor McGregor, a belt away from that? No, but for me, he has the vibe that I like. He's super chill. Everybody looks at him and they see the face tats and the hair color and the way he dresses and all that shit, and they automatically put a stigma on him that, oh, I don't like him, or he looks like an asshole, or he's a certain way. But when I listen to him, he's a super smart guy. He has super chill vibes, and he's a person that I fuck with. You don't have to go out there and be a dickhead for people to like you. So that's my type of vibe. So is he gonna hit that Conor McGregor type of shit and be like a superstar like that? Maybe not, but he could be a superstar in his own right. But I don't think he'll be in that Conor McGregor lane because that's just not his vibe, you know. But I fuck with Sean O'Malley a lot, but I also don't think he's gonna win.
Jay?
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, I love Suga too. I think what CJ just said is the difference between Conor and Sean, and I think really any big UFC star. So let's say Conor, Habib, to some degree Masvidal, and let's say John Jones. The thing that I think most people who generally just watch the UFC like casually, I know I don't even like using the word like that, but just casually, is they usually perceive these guys to be not necessarily invincible, but there's something about them that's just like that no one else can grasp. Like for example, with Conor, what helped Conor the most, he didn't until he lost to Nate Diaz. People legitimately thought this dude just gonna talk crazy about everybody. And he's never gonna lose. And then even when he did lose to Nate, he ran it right back, and then he got the win. So then a lot of people were just like, all right, it's whatever. And even when he got killed by Habib, people still tune in because some people will still be like, oh, he wasn't motivated. His foot was a balloon, all this stuff. You look at John, and again, a lot of people accuse me of being like a John Jones hater, but
Why you hate on your brother?
His big bro.
but for example, John Jones, if you watch John Jones' last 2 fights, you didn't if that was like if you never seen John Jones and that was the only time you ever seen him, it was just okay. He fought Dominic Reyes and he fought Santos. He didn't look like unbeatable. He didn't look invincible. But because of all he had done beforehand, people were too when the Gane and Jones builder was happening, and I was one of the few people who picked Gane, unfortunately.
Nah, this
Everybody
nigga
was
picked him too. This motherfucker picked him too.
Him too. I picked him too.
Damn, y'all some wrong ass niggas, huh?
Hey, I could admit to it.
But one
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
that I
yeah.
noticed that people, despite John's hit outside the cage stuff and even like the PEDs and stuff, not that that's a whole different can of worms. We ain't gonna get into all that. But the point is, people look at it as this guy is just invincible. This guy nobody will ever touch him. So even though people could watch his last 2 fights and be like, he didn't look that crazy, it just went out the window. Masvidal, most people's first time they saw Masvidal, and I don't like people pretending like this was like they saw him beforehand, even though people who were in the know knew about Masvidal generally speaking. But most people's first impression was the knee. And then when they saw him do the knee, and they were just like, oh, he's gonna do this to everybody. Wait, you disagree?
No, I'm just saying I seen that nigga live when you was probably 9 years old. That's just me.
Okay.
No, but I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, bro.
Habib, in a way, it took a while for him, but him finally getting the Conor fight, and a lot of people's perception was, oh, Conor will only lose to like Floyd and Nate. He got that one back. So when Habib just went in there and just cleaned him up like it was nothing, even though most people going into that fight who've been keeping up with kind of knew Habib was like the worst stylistic matchup for Conor. But there were people who were genuinely like, nah, Conor's going to figure it out. And even though Conor still lost, people are like, nah, he in a street fight, he'd beat Habib. It's like, oh, no. That's what I mean.
Conor did pretty good in the fight. Like,
Conor,
keep going. Sorry.
He definitely had some good moments.
To draw this back to Sean, I don't think has that aura of invincibility, because I think what didn't help was, for one, when he fought Jan, even though he got the win, the general consensus was, it was a good showing, but did he really win? And then also, I think going into this Aljo fight, I don't hear a lot of people, at least maybe I'm not paying attention, I don't hear like the same roar of his crowd of like saying, oh, he's going to kill Aljo. Most people are kind of like, that's kind of a bad matchup for him because Aljo just took out Cejudo. Whereas if this was Conor could fight Ngannou, and there will be hundreds of thousands of people swearing up and down, he's going to kill him. He's going to get him. So that's kind of why I don't feel him as like the next Conor, because he doesn't have that aura of invincibility.
Facts.
I think for myself, I think that actually Sean can be a beltway from getting the title. Again, I think as well, how we talked
Not
about
a
earlier.
title. You mean in the same realm as Conor?
Sorry, yes. If he gets the title, he can be in the same realm as Conor. Because I think the real issue, again, is like the UFC just like not doing a great job of marketing and pushing. Because Sean has beyond star power. And I think a lot of that has came pretty much from himself. Like his like YouTube does very well. His TikTok does well, like million subscribers all around the board. You know what I mean? But again, the UFC was just not like pushing him where they could be. The guy talks well. The face off with him and fucking Sterling was amazing. Sugar looked intense, like he was ready to fucking pop him. You know what I mean? Like had me believing like, oh, he about to pop this nigga. Yeah, yeah. You know what I mean? But obviously that's not the case, and he wasn't going to do it and whatnot. But I think 100%. I think if he gets this title by the end of the year, he'll be the biggest star in the UFC by far.
Do you think if he? Go ahead, Scott. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I have to disagree with you as far as marketing because Sean O'Malley is by far, especially when he came prior to him like getting hurt, he was by far pushed more than any fucking body that came off the Contender Series. Like everybody knows, Welcome to the Sugar Show. Like he has been pushed and he's still pushed. Every time they show him, he gets popped. Like I don't think he's under marketed at all. I feel like I see Sean all the time.
I think he's showed a lot in the circles of MMA fans, right? But that's not where Conor is at. Conor is like at that level where, like, you know, Sky, we can like ask our mom, can you name any MMA fighter? She don't even know Conor's name. Oh, the Irish dude. You know what I mean?
But a part of that has to do with what Damien said, which is being able to talk shit. Anytime that he's been up there, he just sits up there. He doesn't say anything.
That's his vibe.
The only time that he actually was kind of funny was like when he was going at Cody Garbrandt and said that he was one loss away from being like a sports commentator.
That shit
like,
was funny.
You know what I mean? But like aside from that, like he doesn't command that kind of energy. Like
that's not his vibe.
That's not his vibe. Like that's why I feel like Izzy is so good because I feel like Izzy puts himself out there. Izzy talks shit. He goes out there. Now, are his performances the best to casual people? Probably not. Like I like his performance. He's going inside there. He's doing his thing.
What you talking about? He just slept Alex Pereira his last fight.
No, you know what I'm talking about.
Hey, we probably gonna segue somewhere. Hey, and y'all probably gonna put his ass to sleep in his next fight too.
Hey, let's go.
All y'all haters, whatever. Casual gang.
Look down here, Jace. Hey, you got any more?
What?
You got any more hot takes?
There's a couple more hot takes, but did y'all have some hot takes to
No, but Jace, I have a question for you for Sugar Sean. So you think if he gets the belt, do you think he will start popping his shit a lot more?
I think that he'll get that much more exposure. You know what I mean? The biggest thing for the UFC now is that they're on ESPN, right? And it's casually on ESPN on a Saturday at 2:00 when, like, you know, you're flipping through the channels, you're just trying to check out, oh, let me check out this fighting shit going on here. You know what I mean? So that's stepped up the UFC more. So with him having that strap and being on SportsCenter, you know, and they'll do like a little interview, you know what I mean? People see this weird fucking dude with crazy hair and face tattoos. Oh, let me watch this dude, or I want to watch this motherfucker get knocked out. You know what I mean? Because that's the thing about being popular. It is, I think it's almost it's impossible to be popular without being polarizing. You know what I mean?
Polarizing. You have to be polarizing.
You know, I don't fuck with Trump in any capacity, right? But half the people will take a bullet for this guy, and half motherfuckers will pull the trigger. You know what I mean?
And we always talk about that shit. You gotta hate a motherfucker, and then you have people who love that person. So you're gonna tune in to watch him get knocked the fuck out, or you're gonna tune in to watch him win. And that's how it has to go. People fucking hate Izzy. I love that motherfucker. My family loves him over here. But there's mad haters that be in my lives all the time. Hating, because this is who he is. Me, I hate Kobe. I want to see his ass get whooped on from the pillar to the post. You know what I'm saying? But there's mad people who be on live that like this motherfucker for his personality. So you have to have people who hate you and who love you equally to tune in for your shit. So if you playing the warm water, people really don't give a fuck.
Let's take on prom night.
That's kind of what Ngannou is. He's just warm water.
I like what you did there. That's exactly what it is. You don't feel shit for him. Sure, he has a magical story. He's been through a lot. That man has a beautiful story. I've met him several times. He's the sweetest fucking person. But I don't care.
You
That
don't
man
care.
puts people
I
in the
don't.
hospital. What are you talking
Sounds
about?
good.
That man,
Sounds
that
good.
man
Hey,
knocked down
no
Jones
more
Belt.
Ngannou talk.
He
No
about to
more
go over there and
Ngannou
kill
talk.
some carpenters. He about to go over there and kill some carpenters.
We
He's
spent
about to
20
kill some
minutes.
people. He's about
We
to
spent
murder
20
people.
minutes on
Y'all,
Ngannou.
like, I can't believe y'all really interested in seeing a man with a skill set and power way up here fight Maurice Green. I mean,
What do
that's
you mean?
crazy.
That's what I'm
Maurice
tuning
Green
in
is
for, bro.
wild. Maurice Green is
This some
wild.
backyard fighting. It feels like
Y'all
these are
better stop
Hey.
talking
backyard
about my
days.
uncle.
Hey, speaking of
Got the
some
money
fucking
on the
fire,
big nigga.
now let's get on to some fucking fire because there was some fire that was announced. They got your boy Dustin the Diamond Poirier taking on Justin Gaethje. Let's go for the BMF belt. How do y'all feel about that? Like,
So
For the
before we
BMF
before we
belt.
even get there,
BMF belt,
before we even get
actually?
there, can we talk
Yeah.
about how petty Uncle Dana is? Dana is that he's the pettiest motherfucker on this planet. Ngannou said, "I'm gonna do this." He said, "Nah. We gonna drop some heat for your ass right now." Fuck your
and
signing,
it's the
bro.
BMF belt too. The way he said, "Masvidal, you out of here? All right,
Bro,
that
that
belt
shit
back.
is called the
Run
vacant
that
BMF
belt.
belt. That shit is crazy. That shit is
The
wild.
BMF belt. I can't
Yes.
believe that's actually like about to be an
A thing.
oncurring thing now.
I
That's
think.
wild. That's wild.
But,
Hold on. So
okay,
are they
do you
taking
guys-
that belt from Masvidal? Are they
They,
he's like
it's,
he-
they're
Taking
probably
what
gonna,
from who? Like Kamaru Usman said before.
they probably gonna
Um,
make a new one for this fool.
yeah, probably.
I'm sure, but yeah, it is for the BMF. It is for the BMF belt. So this, do you
Okay.
guys think that these two gentlemen should be fighting for the BMF belt in general? Are they the baddest motherfuckers?
Speak on it, Jay.
See, here's the thing, right? I can't say no because Dustin and Gaethje, every time they step in there, I can't remember the last time
Bangers.
either one of them had a boring fight. However, I feel like if there was someone who was the most deserving of the BMF, it's got to be Burns. Like, Burns is like the only guy when people talk about when people talk about, oh, I need someone who would actually show up anytime, anywhere. He actually did it. Regardless win, lose, or draw, Burns always shows out. Like, there's no. I feel like one guy who doesn't get the hate he deserves, Cowboy. Cowboy gets called a big man. He just fights a lot, but he be losing. So, you know. But what I will say though is I feel like they're fitting because you can't say no to Gaethje and Dustin. So I feel like it's the fight that makes the most sense though for the BMF. I don't think you could realistically put another two set of guys that I know of that would make more sense, you know? So I think this makes sense though.
CJ.
It's wild though because it's like, yeah, they're deserving of it because the way they fight, but it's like Dustin takes forever to fight people. He stays in the same zone and he fights the same people over and over and over again. And I was like, I really don't fuck with the BMF belt personally myself. It's like you can't win a real belt, so we're gonna just give you this fucking belt. It's like you guys are what? Dustin's 1 right now. Gaethje's what, like 3? It's like, bro, go get the real strap. Like,
They
but
can't.
exactly. Exactly. It's like fuck. But the fight's gonna be amazing. I don't give a fuck about the BMF belt. Like, I don't care. Fuck it. But the fight's gonna be fire though. It's
What
gonna be
about you,
fire.
Damien?
I kind of agree to that sense. Like, why even make a BMF belt? But also, though, I got to give it to the UFC because this is marketing 101 right here. This is the type of fight you want to tune into because these are going to be most likely, you ain't going to see an Islam fight for the BMF belt. You ain't going to see another wrestler fighting for the NFL. Nah, you're gonna see a striker. It's going to be a striking match where
Bangers.
somebody's going to leave, going to the hospital, probably both people, going to the
Facts.
hospital, getting some surgeries that night, which gets people to tune in. Oh shit, who's gonna win this belt? This is gonna be a striking war, right? This is gonna be a war zone on the feet. But for these two gentlemen, I don't know if it's so fitting because I understand what it's for the views and everything, right? But I feel like you need people that are more polarizing, like you guys mentioned earlier, like a Israel Adesanya or like a Conor McGregor. Now, if Conor McGregor was fighting another superstar, which
Like
I can't
Nate.
even like
They should have
picture,
ran it with Nate
like
for the
Nate,
BMF.
yeah,
That would have been crazy.
that would
That would
be
have
a
went going
BMF type title
stupid.
for me.
That
Because
would
it
have gone
doesn't make sense to
stupid.
make it for any other type of thing besides like a fight night main event. But they're gonna make it a pay-per-view main event with no title on the line. So give them the BMF type fight, right? So I like the idea and I'm behind it. But for these two gentlemen, I'm not really feeling it. This could be just like a number one contender fight. That's what it
Yeah.
is in my opinion.
Basically.
Yeah. Go
Sir,
ahead,
with
Jay.
your hand up, speak.
I will only say this will hold weight if they actually defend it. Because my whole thing was Masvidal won the BMF belt, but then it's like it lost weight because we've seen him lose to Usman, and we also see him lose to Colby, and we also see him lose to Burns, but he still had the title of BMF. So it's like, unless these
Right.
guys are actually going to be defending it against people and it's actually on the line every time they fight, then I can get behind it. Something similar to like what the WWE does, like with the hardcore title,
I was
something
about
like
to
that,
say
where
that
it's not
shit.
the main championship, but it's one of those ones where the people that you would want to tune into. So I know from a marketing perspective, they don't like to put on pay-per-views if there's no belt on the line. But if they're not going to defend this belt, then trash it, please, because I don't
Right.
like this yet.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Also worth noting, this was the belt that Dana said, "Oh, we're never gonna do this. This is a one-time thing." Womp womp womp. Here we are.
I know.
Here we are again.
For real though.
Exactly.
Running
For
it
real
again.
though. Yeah.
Jace, what do you
Exactly.
think? Do you think that this is do you think they're
I'm 100% not on board with the BMF belt anymore. I thought at first when they first did it, it was pretty fucking corny to begin with. These guys and their prior fight and their resumes speak for themselves. You don't need it. You know what I mean? I'm kind of over it. And if we're talking about BMF, I mean, damn, like, how is my boy? And before y'all try to kill me, but fucking El Kukui. I mean, damn, like, that's literally almost in his fucking name, right? But just in general, can I just talk real quick about like how pumped I am for this fight card? Like,
let's go.
Wait a second, right? Like they throwing 2 pay-per-views in a month. Right.
Yeah.
And this, I think, is better than International Fight Week. Like, this is nothing but bangers, bro. This is bangers. Tony Bobby Green, the fucking boogeyman, Alex Pereira, Jan Blachowicz. You know what I mean? You got Steven Wonderboy. You all know I fuck with this nigga. Thompson on the card. You know what I mean? Like, this fight card is crazy. Like, you got your boy Kevin Holland featured prelim, motherfucker. Like, this is gonna be
wild. That's Sky's homeboy right there.
Soft ass Kevin. Kevin is sensitive and soft.
Scrap pack, hubby, scrap pack.
What I gotta say about this card though is the thing that sticks out to me the most though is Ikram. This dude's already fighting Costa. So I think I know what they're trying to do. I think they're trying to get it if he runs through Costa. I think they're trying to do him and Hamzat. That's what I'm guessing. This reminds me of what they did with Pereira and Izzy because it's like the easy angle of he was Hamzat's hardest fight before the UFC, and they run it back because there's no way I don't think they push him this quickly unless that's the idea.
See, actually, though, I disagree. I think this is them wanting to destroy Costa. Shout out to fucking Tito Ortiz when they made him fight Lyoto Machida. You know what I mean? Like, no, you fucked us. We're here to fuck you. And that's the angle that I think the UFC, because you're giving Paulo Costa like stylistically like the worst possible matchup for the guy. And that's what the UFC history has done. If you try to fuck the company, we are going to try to give you the worst matchup possible.
He just resigned.
Yeah, but I still think the UFC is heated at him and wants him kind of just to fucking take a shit on him.
Yep,
in my opinion.
I agree. I think they're trying to get Paulo Costa out of there.
Because how many times?
I doubt he even shows up. I doubt he even shows up. He's the one that fucked over Robert Whitaker. I'm still pissed at Paulo. I'm still pissed about that.
On a real quick side note, when is the last time that y'all can remember the number 5 ranked person is fighting someone unranked?
You're right.
Just think about that.
Oh boy, is Sean Strickland's fighting somebody who ain't ranked at all.
Jan Blachowicz, but that's a different story.
Yeah, but he's fighting a former champion.
Right? That's a different story.
Yeah, new to the division, but just in general, like top 5 people don't fight people outside of the top 15. You know what I mean? Wild. They're trying to feed this man to the wolves.
Hey, this card is stupid though.
It's ridiculous.
Dumb.
It's a
Dumb.
striker's delight. And it's in Salt Lake City. They're gonna make me make the drive. Like,
Bro, I want to go there. I want to go there. Honestly, like
can this be Tony's last fight?
Goodness.
Please.
I think Tony is actually gonna beat Bobby Green. Like I actually feel bad for Bobby Green. I actually feel bad for Bobby Green.
Facts.
Yeah.
Tony gonna style on this nigga.
Bobby Green been losing.
What? Damien.
Hey, please. Damien, preach.
Hey, but this is Tony Ferguson. Like Tony will Imanari roll. This nigga will front flip, heel kick. This one's gonna do something wild.
On a quick side note, do we think Tony's going to be at the fight with his
I was just about to say that. Don't forget Tony just flipped over 3 cars. Yeah. Bro's about to be going to court. Probably be having to do alcohol tests. I'm like, he might be having to go through a lot of shit before that fight happens. So
that's why he's taking this fight.
Got to pay for them legal bills.
You got to pay for them bills.
He about to style on Bobby Green. He about to style on him.
I'm still stuck at the fact that you guys think that Tony Ferguson
El Kakui
is going to smash Bobby Green.
Come on. Like Bobby Green.
Wild. Did y'all see Tony's last 5 fights? And y'all know I love Tony. Did y'all see his fight?
I've seen it.
I called Jace in the middle of the Nick Diaz fight, 3rd round, and said, I never want to see Tony Ferguson fight again. He looks sloppy as fuck in there with Nate Diaz. Come on, y'all. Like, come back. Come back. We can love Tony.
Point 2.
we can want Tony to win, but y'all, Bobby Green has been consistently in there fighting. Come on now. The stout.
Yeah, top tier people too. I'm not. You right about that, but I feel like Tony got one more in him, and if it's gonna do it, it's gonna be
one more for the Mick. Hey, give him one more for the Gipper. One more for the Gipper.
One more in him. You feel me? He got one more, and this is the guy to do it to. I don't know why.
Man, I love you some Bobby Green. Yeah,
I love Bobby Green. Like
the OG.
But damn, this is a step up in competition. Like, yeah, he's been fighting the up and comer young guys who've been knocking people out and have incredible records. But there's something about fighting a veteran, like a real, true veteran. And Bobby Green's actually a veteran, too. That fool been fighting for a while, too. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know, man. Tony been in there with the best of the best in the West and the East, all over the country. And I feel like for some reason, he's going to fucking get a random win, and it's gonna be like, oh shit, and then he retires on the win.
No, I was gonna ask. So, if you think he catches a win, do you think he keeps fighting?
Please don't.
He will.
Jace, yeah, right, Jace. I think so too. I don't want that, bro. Yeah, I think he's gonna keep going. Tony's the type of nigga to be like, nah, I still got it. I still got it.
He is too, but
even if he lose, he gonna be like, nah, I still got it.
I got the juice.
I got the juice.
Like right now, after all the losses, after all the bullshit he done been through, the knockouts and shit, he's gonna win this one some magical way.
Hey, and this nigga Damien think it's a Disney movie. He think it's a Disney movie. This ain't Disney, my nigga.
What you need,
this ain't the Mighty Ducks, bro.
Look though. If Tony looks like how he did in the first round against Chandler, it's possible. If he does. It's a pretty big if, but if he does, it's definitely possible.
That's what I'm saying. He's been fighting top tier. Top tier.
Bobby Green ain't fought top tier. He's fought good opponents, not top tier.
Up-and-comers.
Islam not good enough for you?
How long ago was that?
That was last minute.
The fucking champion.
Yeah, I mean, you can't put caveats on the shit you said. I mean, that's a good fighter, right? You was just high. You was just high on Drew Dober the other day, and then
slurping them up.
Hey, whoa! Wait a second.
You was going crazy for Drew.
Hey, listen, I like Drew Dober. I don't slurp up anybody, but I mean, whatever y'all do, outside of the podcast, more power to you.
Y'all don't remember Bobby Green versus Fiziev? Y'all don't remember that fight? Go back and watch that fight.
But somebody over here was picking Fiziev versus Gaethje. One of y'all motherfucker was.
Here's what I'm saying. I
And he
want
won the fight.
No, he did it. No, he did it.
I want nothing more than for Tony to get a win. But
man,
I would love it if he did win. I think Bobby's going to be too fast for him. I think he's going to be too slick. And if Tony looks like he looked against Nate Diaz, I'm turning off the TV. I'm not watching him get beat up. It hurt me too much. Like, y'all don't understand. Like, it hurts. I can't see that. No.
I feel like Bobby Green don't have the one punch knockout power to beat
Fair.
Ferguson.
That's what I was gonna say. Also,
accumulation.
But
Justin Gaethje didn't have to one punch knock his ass out either. We're just smacking him.
But Justin Gaethje does though. That's the thing. Like that's why I'm like, oh shit, bro. Justin Gaethje beating the fuck out of you.
What is Tony's path to success?
Hey, we're not talking about that fight no more ever.
What is Tony's path to success? You think he's gonna be
submission,
jiu-jitsu,
submission, blazing shades, baby.
No. Just Tony being Tony. Just crazy Tony being crazy Tony.
Random shit, catching him off rhythm.
What were you about to say, Jay?
I would say this: if Tony started to wrestle, I think this fight is way closer than people would think. If he actually offensively wrestles, that's a pretty big if, though. Because Bobby Green has solid wrestling, don't get me wrong, but if these two are on the ground together, I know one thing I will say is jiu-jitsu doesn't age as much like striking. Jiu-jitsu is the one thing that tends to stick with you as you get older and you get more washed. But will Tony do that? Probably not. So we're not going to talk too much about it. But I don't know. I feel like in some weird way, and I know this is really me just being wishful. This is wishful thinking. I feel like Tony's gonna knock him out weird. Like it's gonna be like a weird, like spinning elbow. He's gonna be doing all of this, and he's gonna catch him, and then Tony's. I don't know. That's how I see it happening. That's the.
I don't know why I feel that way too. And look, you don't need wrestling for jiu-jitsu. Like the Eminari roll, that ain't no wrestling move, but it was gonna take your ass down. The backpack, we all know Aljamain Sterling is about to backpack the shit out of Sean O'Malley, and he could do the same shit with Bobby Green. And that's not wrestling, but guess what? All of a sudden you're on the ground because your feet is tired, your legs is tired and shit. Like, this is a fight. At the end of the day, it's a fight, and it could go any which way. And I never throw anybody like to the left, to the right, but I just have it's like a I don't know. I'm feeling the energy that Tony Ferguson just somehow, some way is going to channel the energy.
He can't lose
Share your
6 in a
energy
row,
with
huh?
me. Share your energy with me so I can retire on a positive note. It's gonna be one of those. It's just gonna be fucking out of. It's gonna be out of left field.
Hey, how y'all feel about Alex versus Jan? Like, what y'all think this is gonna look like?
Alex gonna kill that nigga.
What?
Wow.
Come on, Jan about to wrestle. Fuck them.
Alex gonna kill that nigga.
Jan about to be a wrestler.
Oh, you're a wrestler now.
Yeah, he about to be a wrestler. He's not standing up with this nigga. Are you kidding me? There's no way. I don't think he has the ego to say I'm about to knock him out. Nah, I don't think that's the route. I think he's about to just clench him up, try to get him to the ground, and then just lay on him like a Francis Ngannou.
Like he did with Izzy.
Like he did with Izzy, yeah. He's just gonna be a heavy blanket.
What y'all think?
That's what I think.
What you think, Jay?
I will say this though. He would have to be more offensive with how he grappled because he couldn't just lay on him. Because one thing to consider was Izzy was super underweight compared to Jan, so Jan didn't really have to do too much when he was on top.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this: Jan is hard to hit clean. Like defensively, he's one of the best strikers defensively, and I think he's super underrated in the defensive aspect. Now that don't mean go stand with Pereira. Don't go do that. But I think he should immediately in the first round just start going. Let me just start shooting because Pereira, I would assume, and this is me giving him credit that I haven't seen yet. I'm gonna assume with him working with Glover that he's gonna get at least a little bit better. So it's not just gonna be a thing where you can just get on his hips and he's just gonna be just clueless. He's still gonna be clueless on his back, despite him being a brown belt. He's still gonna be clueless regardless. But I will say though, the only way Pereira I think wins this fight is he would have to almost do like a Derek Lewis type of thing where he has to be so fixated on when the takedown is coming, kind of like what he did. I don't know if it was his debut fight, but who was that guy? The Greek guy. When he fought the Greek guy, he
Oh,
kind of knew like, yeah, I know he's
Micheladas
gonna
or
take me
some
down,
shit
so I
like
need
that.
to time this at some point. It's very risky though because if he gets too hyper fixated, it's not like Jan can't strike, but it's probably not ideal. So in a way, he might almost open himself up too much because he kind of acknowledges, yeah, like even though him and Izzy are not the same fighter, stylistically, he's a way worse grappler than Izzy. So that's kind of how I see it.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Well,
That's 291. What were you saying, Jace?
oh yeah, keep going.
Yeah, so that's 291. We still got some time for that to develop, people to fall out, people to get hurt, whole bunch of silly shit.
Wait. Real quick before we move on, who wins this fight? Who do you think?
I can't go against go against Alex.
No. I'm talking about Poirier Gaethje.
Oh, I'm gonna go with Dustin. Dustin got it done the first time. I think his boxing's a little bit more crisp. He's a smarter fighter. He's not gonna get dragged into a lot of the bullshit and the antics. But yeah, I would go with Dustin.
Damn. I kind of want to go with Gaethje. But Dustin, it seems like he's a slow starter, and once he starts getting beat up a little bit, that's when he starts zoning in. It's like, all right, like fuck that, and he starts moving his head a little more. He starts faking a little more. He starts throwing the harder shots. But Gaethje is still a dog too, and ever since I started watching him fight after that loss, like this man is hard to bet against now. So I'm split, like even right down the middle, and I think Vegas is gonna have the same odds. Honestly, like I think it's a minus 150, 150 both ways or something like that. However they have it. What about you, CJ?
I'm gonna go Dustin. Very, 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 very close fight. Just like what Sky said, his boxing is just a little bit more cleaner. He throws a lot more straights down in the pocket. But Gaethje is right there with his power. So, you know, it's gonna be a close fight. The first fight was a fucking banger until Dustin, these motherfucking names always fuck me
Dustin,
up.
Justin.
Like I said, I'll be saying in my life, somebody's Dustin's gotta go, bro. They're gonna be Dust or Just at the end of this shit. Yeah, but I think Diamond's probably gonna pull it out in the close fight. This is a fucking banger though, bro.
What happens with the leg kicks though? What if you start beating up his legs?
I think for me, I like Justin. Like hot take, not thinking about a knee jerk reaction. I think Justin knocks him out.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
Could happen. Could happen.
What about you,
they both get hit a lot.
I want to hear what Jay got to say.
Based on, and I don't know how to word this. Based on how he did against Vazeev, I have a lot of hope for Justin going into this fight the second time around because what I will say is I think this fight will still be exciting, but I don't think it will be anything like the first because Justin's mentality has changed a whole lot since they fought the first time. And I think back to when Dan fought Dustin, and there were certain opportunities he was able to capitalize on. Like someone just said, with Dustin being kind of a slow starter at times, Justin could capitalize on that if he takes a more patient approach. Because I think Justin hits harder, but I can't bet against Dustin only because fundamentally, I think Justin Gaethje's boxing defense is just a little bit too still behind to where I think as the fight goes on later, he's just going to lag behind more. He's going to probably fall behind a bit. So I still pick Dustin, but Gaethje is a lot more dangerous than the first time around. Though.
Definitely. He was still young when he fought Dustin at that time. He was still kind of green in the UFC.
What do y'all think about Trevor Whitman? I think he's like top tier like coach because he's got good people behind him, like, you know, top tier fighters and stuff. But I feel like they've been kind of like losing in the high stress situations lately.
Yeah, Kamaru and Rose both lost.
I think that he's still top tier.
Yeah.
You know, when you have 1v2 or 1v champ, like it's literally you're talking about strings. You know, is the difference between the fights. Now Kamaru's just obviously we know older. Hurt, you know, Rose didn't have the greatest game plan, but his fighters are still all of them all around the board, top of the fucking food chain. And I'm not going to hate on somebody because you go out there and lose to someone as equal good.
Yeah, we're going to remember that, CJ. We got to remember that he said that because, you know, he be flip-flopping on his takes. He be flip-flopping. But real quick, this weekend, before we get out of here this weekend, we got Mackenzie Dern taking on Angela Hill. Edmund Shabazian taking on Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. I'm going to tell y'all right now, like I tell y'all every single time she's on the card, Natalie Silva, do not miss this fight. Like, every single time I've seen her fight, I told y'all to check her out. Her first debut, she was out there floating, skating on ice, piecing up Jasmine Jazz Davidicus. In her last fight, she had the spinning back kick straight to the dome. I was there in the Apex. It was absolutely beautiful. So make sure that you check it out. Hopefully our boy Thimba has some lotion on and he don't come out like that other guy that was just ashy as hell. Y'all remember that? Like a couple months back, I texted everybody. I was like, ain't no way you just decided to come out here ashy as hell like that. Like, come on, you gotta do better. Chase Hooper is coming in at lightweight this weekend. I I don't know how much better he gonna do at lightweight. Like,
damn.
Yeah, you know,
he's getting older. He's getting older. The body's
But he's got a little thin little frame though. Like,
Carolina
oh no,
taking on Vanessa Demopoulos.
She be dropping it low. That's the girl that be dropping it low.
That's the former, you know.
This one over Latifi in there.
Yeah, Girl Latifi. I mean, you know, it's a solid card.
Solid card.
It is. That's just the prelims. I like the prelims more than the main
Joaquin
shit.
Buckley taking on Andre Fiallo.
Okay. That's gonna be a banger.
That's gonna be the
hey,
fight
shout
right
out to my brother Jay. He talked to him the other day. Shout out to Jay. He went live with him. Yep, Jay was on live with him.
Hey.
Michael Johnson, and I should have did Michael Johnson versus Bobby Green.
That's what I've been saying.
I've been saying for so long. I'm finally met my people. I've been saying it. That's the biggest bag fumble.
Oh man, that'd have been so fire. That'd have been so fire.
Make this fight before they both retire. At least
please.
I am tired of seeing black on black crime. I'm good. I don't want to see it.
Stop it.
Yeah. If I want to see that, I just moved to Chicago. I'm good.
That's racist.
I'm weak.
Jay,
go ahead and let the people know where they can find you. I know you got a podcast as well.
All right, so Instagram name, TikTok name are all the same. Zombie Man Jay, so Zombie Man Jay. Podcast available on Spotify and pretty much any other platform. Blackout Combat, but with a K, not a C. I use Twitter, but it's private. I gotta clean it up, so I'm not using Twitter yet.
You ain't trying to have nobody go back and pull up some old tweets.
Hey,
Moose.
What is this? Explain
everywhere.
yourself.
Moose knuckle.
Yeah, we're gonna work on the Twitter. We'll get the Twitter handled eventually. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it, really.
Hey Jay, I just want to thank you for getting on the podcast, bro, because like you actually are pretty wise and like you really know your shit and you've been doing your studying and stuff. So I just want to give a shout out to you because like you got me thinking about shit like, damn, that's a good point. I said that at least 3 or 4 times in my head while you were speaking. Like, damn, that's a good point.
Thank y'all. No, honestly, thank y'all.
Yeah. For reals, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. I talked to a lot of people on TikTok, and I don't like to deal with a lot of motherfuckers, but every time I talk to Jay, it's always a good. He got a good head on his shoulder. A lot of these motherfuckers, I'd be like, man, who raised you, man? Who raised y'all?
Facts. Yes, definitely. Anytime you want to come back, just let us know. We'll be more than happy to have you. Couple things before we head out. Scrap and Roll, MMA.com. Get your shirts. Go to CJ's TikTok. CJ got some shirts dropping as well. So make sure that you check him out. But we will be back next week. We have went over our time. We will be back on Wednesdays per usual. With a little bit more BS. If y'all have any hot takes, anything y'all want us to go over, anything that you want to say to Jace, make sure that you leave it in the comments. And we'll